As a mum, I think one of the most frequent phrases I hear is, oh, you can't pour from an empty cup. What if the cup I was trying to fill was never big enough to begin with? The oil didn't stop flowing because there wasn't enough. It stopped flowing because there were not enough vessels. This story really made me rethink that whole idea. If you're not familiar with the story in 2 Kings 4, I will briefly summarize. It is about a widow with 2 sons, and unfortunately she is in some debt, and the people that she owes are threatening to take her children. She goes to Prophet Elisha for some help, and he asks her what does she have at home that could be used towards this debt, and she says that she has nothing aside from a small jar of oil. He then asks her to go around and borrow as many vessels as she can, and she does that. So when she gets back into her house, she takes from the small jar of oil, and miraculously she fills up all of the vessels using this small jar of oil. And with the oil that she got from the vessels, she has more than enough to pay off the people that she owes, and also to sustain herself and her children for the rest of her life. The first thing that really stood out to me in this story was the need to increase my capacity. It's not just about making sure that my cup is constantly full. It's about making sure that my cup is large enough for this motherhood life that God has called me to live. To me, it's about making more room for rest, strength, and joy. I think it's important to note that there are some assignments that are yours alone. Elisha gave the instruction to the widow. The instruction was very clear. Go and gather as many vessels as you can, but instead she sent her sons. They only brought as many as they could, right? So the oil ceased. And that prompted me to think about all of the assignments that we have in life and motherhood that no one else can do for us. With the little oil that they were able to collect, it was enough to pay off her debts and for her and her children to live off for the rest of her life, right? But you can imagine if they had had more, that would have been such a perfect opportunity to increase generational wealth. Certain things that I can only do for my family and myself, whether that's being a mother in the home and pouring into my children, or nurturing my marriage under my responsibility as the wife, or taking ownership of my health. Honestly, no one else can do it for me. So I've had to learn to prioritize those assignments. Also had to increase my capacity to receive strength. And for me personally, that comes from faith in God. So many things that I now do to increase my capacity to receive from God. This connection keeps me grounded and surely gives me the strength to do all that needs to be done. There is a lot to be done. I've learned to ask for help, go to bed earlier rather than going to bed later, and also taking a step back from things if I need to. Rest plays a huge part in increasing capacity, and at this point, it's not a luxury, it is absolutely a necessity. To anyone feeling overwhelmed or feeling like they can't balance everything, I just want to encourage you to not just focus on filling your cup, but to ask God to increase your capacity. The oil of favor, peace, love, strength, all of the good things is ready to flow. You just have to make the room for it.